Dumalang Sambanani, hello South Africa. A very warm welcome to Expressions. This is definitely the place for you to air your views. I'm your host, Jacqueline Mapala.
Sinibingelela sinamukele nami your host umxolisi wakwaMasango. Now ohlelweni siqhubekela phambili ngenkulumo ezibaluleke kakhulu namhlanje. It's very important to reflect and have conversations around what we've seen in our streets, where we've seen the likes of Operation Dudula led by the likes of Nhlanhla Lux in our communities. So namhlanje siyabuza-ke, is Operation Dudula inciting violence? And that's what we'd like to know from you as a young person lapha ekhaya. We'll be touching base with the various people directly. What do you have to say about the conversations we are having on the show? Do interact with us in enkundleni zethu zokuxhumana. Let's take you to the first insert.
You're still watching Expressions, your number one youth current affairs show. We put a very important spotlight on Operation Dudula. And right now we are on location in Regent's Park. We're going to be speaking to a young person, a foreign national. We want to find out from her, how has this movement impacted her? How does she feel about South Africa? Let's go inside and meet Lorraine. Lorraine, I think I just want to take you back. Humble beginnings. I mean, tell us which country you're born in and tell us a little bit about the country that you were born in.
I was born in Zambia, Lusaka. I came here in South Africa at the age of 5. And then I studied here and completed my matric here. And me growing up here, I enjoyed it. Well, it was fun, exploring different places all around, meeting new people, learning different languages that I also enjoyed. The only issue I had was guys from my class who would make fun of me because I'd come from an outside country. They would just call me, hey, you kwere and all that, which didn't sit well with me. But when I would report it at school to my principal actually punished them for that and suspend them at school. And they actually got to speak to them and tell them that we are one, no matter where we come from, but we are one. Like, we should unite and love one another. But now I don't feel safe anymore as it was before when I came here, due to the operation that has been happening and the xenophobic attacks that have been happening, which has affected us badly.
You've been in South Africa for a couple of years, and I just wanted to know, how do you feel about this country?
Learning more about different cultures and comparing it with from where I come from, because I'd say it's Zulu, and from where I come from, our culture is not, it's like similar. We have similar things, even the words are very similar.
What is your current status in South Africa?
Okay, for now I'm using a study payment from Home Affairs, the asylum seekers, but I applied for a citizen and I haven't got any response from the Home Affairs yet.
So we know that Operation Dudula has gained so much traction on the ground, and this movement has impacted you personally. Can you tell us a little bit about how exactly you've been affected by Operation Dudula?
It has impacted me negatively because there was one operation that happened not far from where I stay, where they actually took a house which was made an hotel from the Nigerians, and there were shootouts and everything, which was not safe because now they were coming house to house, checking and all that if you are staying in someone's house and checking if you have proper documents and all, which was like, now we're running away from people when we know that we have rights here and we also have the proper documents, which was very bad for us because now we'd live in fear, sleep in fear, wake up in fear because we don't know, are we next? And my parents would not go to work because it was also happening in town where they would be scared, towing the shops and everything, which we feared mostly.
And how does Operation Dudula make you feel about living in South Africa as a Zambian national?
They want their country to themselves. They don't want to have other people from outside come here, and which makes me feel very unsafe.
I want to know, what are the conversations you are having in the home around Operation Dudula? What do your parents say? What does your mom and your dad say to you as a young person who's out there about Operation Dudula?
My mom, she's also in fear. I won't lie, she's also in fear. She will just say, you know what, I think maybe it's time we go back home. And I'll encourage her to say, no, why leave? Because of this, no. If you know you have the right proper documents and all, why fear? And like, why are you running away? Because if it's your time, it's your time. So I just have encouragement and just say, you know what, let's have faith.
Do you think that firstly is a fair comment to say, foreign nationals must go home?
If you can like go to different countries, most South Africans are there and they're treated equally. Yeah, so I don't understand as to why they don't want foreign nationals here in SA.
How would you describe the way that South Africans are treated in Zambia?
We have South Africans who are there in Zambia that run a ShopRite mall there, and they're treated very well. You won't even say that this one is from South Africa because they are united. For my country, I'll tell you, we're very united. We love one another.
So if you could say anything to Operation Dudula as a young person, what would you say to them about how they've made you feel?
Just to stop and let us live as one and be united. No matter where we come from, no matter what color you are, but God created us in one image. We should love one another and be brothers and sisters.
A big thank you to, of course, Lorraine for sharing her story with us. And I think what is really pivotal for us as South Africans is to really ask ourselves the salient question around whether South Africa is a country where all Africans can belong, especially considering these mounting tension as well as polarities that are taking place in terms of Operation Dudula. You are watching Expressions. We continue after the break with this very important conversation. We'll be back.
Siphinde sinibingelele sinamukele ohlelweni. You're still watching Expressions as we continue to have inkulumo ezibalulekile ohlelweni. Namhlanje siyabuza ke eSouth Africa, a country where all Africans can belong. Siphinde sibuze ukuthi is Operation Dudula an incitement of violence? We did touch base with you Estradini just to find out ukuthi ngabe imibono yabantu abasha bona ithini about this. Okay guys, welcome to Expressions. It's great to have you on the show. So today's topic, you guys are already familiar with what we're talking about today. What are your views?
I'm in support of the movement, simply because I think it's a bit hypocritical for people to claim that South Africans are being xenophobic, and the reason why foreigners are getting jobs is because South Africans are lazy to work. So basically what we're saying is that it's okay for people to exploit South Africans, because if you're going to say that South Africans don't want to work and then jobs are given to foreign nationals because they accept the smallest of pay, then you're basically saying a South African should be okay with being exploited. So I mean, full support of the movement.
What do you think?
When it comes to xenophobic attacks and how we look and our views, how we perceive foreign nationals is really uncalled for and inhuman. Because I feel like everybody should go for what they really want. Whether you are in a different country, we'd expect to be treated the same way, exactly how they are treated here. Like, so when you go to a foreign national country, you expect to be perceived warmly. So I believe everybody should be treated the same, whether you are foreign or whether you are South African.
Do you guys as young people think ukuthi singama South Africans we are xenophobic?
No, I don't think we are xenophobic, because according to my understanding, the movement clearly states that they are driving out illegitimate foreigners. Illegitimate. So you are here, you don't have, basically you are here illegally. So you have to go and then come back with the right paperwork, come back legally. We're not being xenophobic. We're doing things by the book. That's what
I think we are definitely xenophobic. Because let's look at pull and push factors. What pushes people from their countries to move to this country, and what pushes us to move out of our country. So I believe we are definitely xenophobic. Because one thing about South Africans, we have this stigma. We always want to be given things on a silver platter. We always want things from our governments. There's nothing wrong with somebody coming here because they want to better themselves.
We are basically saying it's fighting for your rights. It's basically saying, okay, I'm a South African and the Constitution does state that I'm entitled to work, I'm entitled to free education, I'm entitled to all of that. Now, if we're going to say that, no, let's step aside and let foreigners take over because they didn't have it easy in their own country, what are we saying? Should we put our own rights aside to make the next person feel comfortable? It doesn't make sense.
There's an academy, I don't want to name it. There's free education there. Guess what? People are still chilling by the corner. They require only grade 9. We all have grade 9. Nobody goes there. Imagine after you get your certificate, there are people who come and get you guys jobs. No, everybody's chilling by the corner still. So what should people do? They take whatever chance that they will take whatever opportunity that they are given. They grasp it fully and they go with it. One thing about Free Nationals, they will stand up and work. They will cut your hair. They will plate you. They will cook. They will do whatever. One thing about us, we are so prideful and entitled.
We can't be okay with South Africans being exploited. That's wrong. We're basically saying it's okay for South Africans to be exploited because we have foreign nationals who stand up and take whatever it is. Of course they will be desperate. You can't fault a person for not wanting their rights to be gone against. That's wrong.
So guys, how do we find solutions? Because the reality of this matter is we have the whole country right now that is divided, like you two are divided. What should we be doing, to bridge that gap?
We should just hold the government accountable because they're just sitting behind their high walls, not doing anything, and they're letting South Africans fight their battles for them. So we need to start holding the government accountable. That's it.
Yeah, I think it all starts from the top. There's nothing we can do at the bottom if the top itself is corrupt, is not doing anything and is relaxed. So we can fight, we can riot, we can chase them out, but the moral of the story is how do they even get here in the first place illegally? So the problem starts at the top.
So does Operation Dudula incite violence? That's the big question ohlelweni namhlanje. Namhlanje futhi sila at Desmond Tutu Refugee Center khona la eTshwane, where we're going to be touching base with some foreign nationals to find out ukuthi ngabe ukuthi bathole documentation yabo. How does the process go? Is it speedily? As well as their views on Operation Dudula ukuthi sibezwe ukuthi bacabangani. Let's go meet them.
When you enter inside there, you'll find most of the officials, they're outside. They are not working because of their own system. They shall say, no, the system is down, the system is up.
Lockdown, they didn't open until now. They're not opening, they're only renewing people that are online. So they will not tell us that all the people, illegal foreigners, they must go back because Home Affairs is closed.
What we need to understand about this center is that it was overwhelmed. The system was just overwhelmed. You can't necessarily blame it on the officials.
The reality is also that there's a lot of people that are complaining that with the online system, they've applied trying to renew their documents, and up to then they still haven't been helped. So I think there's still areas that needs to be improved.
What do you think of Operation Dudula?
They are not officials. It's the job of the police and the Home Affairs. They must just back off. We never take any job from them. We never do anything wrong to them. They are just individuals that have hatred on another black people.
Obviously, what they're doing, obviously, it's going against the law. But the reality also, it's unfortunate that in these kind of movements, there are people who have genuine concerns that they're trying to raise. And you have also criminal elements who try to, tag along and do what they want to do, But the reality is, I think if maybe the government was doing what it was supposed to do, we wouldn't have Operation Dudula.
They are operating on a false pretense to say that this economy has fallen because of foreigners. I don't know if they've got facts.
That operation of Dudula is killing us. I'm not afraid to speak that. Dudula is killing the foreigners here. He just go to stop each and every person in the road. Where's your document? It's not your Home Affairs. The person of the reality to stop a foreigner to ask the document is the only immigration.
So a lot of mixed emotions, or at least perspectives, there coming from young South Africans as well as African foreign nationals. And it makes me think about what Kwame Mkura said about what it means to be African. And he was speaking about the fact that, you're not only African purely because of the fact that you're born in Africa, but the fact that Africa is born in you. Is this a sentiment that we are reflecting as South Africans? It's up to you. Make sure you engage with us on our social media platforms. We'll be back right after this. You are watching Expressions.
I think the Operation Dudula is, it's a great initiative with, great focal points of trying to put its people first. But then it becomes, an awkward situation where it initiates violence within the process, because we're now in an era where we have to write, we have to talk, we have to speak as people.
Our government is failing to secure a safer place for us. So Operation Dudula is creating a safe place for us by removing illegal immigrants.
At first, I really thought it was a moving movement because, other foreigners are here legally and others are not here legally, which would only make sense to say, no, the people that are not here legally should go back home. But then, after Nhlanhla Lux actually ransomed someone's house because he was thinking out of his own emotions, I am completely against it because I don't believe that we always have to react out of emotions,
If one person, just because they feel they're entitled to do something, particularly for the people, and then they take legal action into their own hands, that is wrong, and those people need to be arrested.
What I would love to see is change, peace, and security, yes. Law enforcement working, and the government doing what it's supposed to do, yes.
Our laws need to be more regulated by having proper systems in place. I think maybe having immigrants come in maybe every year or according to how their visa is allowing them to stay in the country. So maybe they should just come in and check, are you a valid person in this country? Because I believe other countries do that and it shouldn't be hard for us to do the same.
It's always like that. It happens.
Welcome back. You are still watching Expressions. We continue to have our conversations namhlanje ohlelweni as we ask the big question, is South Africa a place where all Africans can belong? As a youth platform, we give a plethora of voices a chance to air their views, which is why we felt it was also important to have a sit down with Operation Dudula's deputy chair, Dan Khatebe, who talks to us about who is Operation Dudula, what is Operation Dudula, and what they're basically all about. What do you have to say about the conversation that Jackie had? Do let us know. Let's take you there.
Now, I'm going to be speaking to Dan Khatebe, who is the deputy chairperson of this particular movement. We want to get to the heart of it. Stay with me. Dan, is Operation Dudula just specifically and selectively targeting Black and brown bodies? Because the criticism on the ground is that you don't touch white people, you don't go into white businesses.
Operation Dudula, we said, is community-based, right? And you cannot ignore the issues that are affecting your people on the ground, on daily basis. Bread and butter issues. When they wake up, they see a tech shop. Before they sleep, they go to a tech shop to get salt or something or cooking oil, right? And that's a multi-billion rands industry that was started by our mothers and grandmothers, that even today, it has been taken over by the Bangladeshis, Ethiopians, and Pakistanians. You can name them. We are not ashamed to say that. If you want to go and claim a mine that is owned by an Australian company in Eastern Cape, because that's where we are heading, which it's very questionable how that company acquired or was granted a mining license, whereas we've got Black-owned mining companies that could have done what they are doing there, and ignore the issues that are affecting our grannies in the township. We ignore the issues that are affecting our boys who are standing at the robots, smoking drugs or playing cards or washing cars and whatsoever. We cannot ignore that.
For a lot of South Africans out there, Operation Dudula has polarized the country. There are those who are saying you are inciting xenophobia in South Africa. I mean, what is your response to that criticism?
We are not xenophobic. Hence, we are saying all those who are legally in the country and contributing meaningfully to the growth and the economy of the country, we are coexisting with them. We are prepared to coexist with them. But we cannot tolerate the anarchy that we see happening in the country. People coming in and go out as they please, hijacking buildings, selling drugs to our children, taking over our local businesses, taking over South African jobs illegally, so even those companies committing crime by employing non-South Africans illegally.
But Operations Dudula has also been criticized by the president to say that it is jeopardizing South Africa's relationship with the rest of the continent. What is your response to that?
We chose not to respond to him because if he wants to nest the continent over the South African people, that they must be stuck in poverty for the sake of nesting relationships, and then it won't work for South Africans. It's his view. All what we are saying, put your people first. Prioritize your people. Make sure that they've got jobs. Make sure that your people are safe in your country. So if we are saying to him, prioritize your people, he decides to prioritize the continent over his people, it's his business. If the government had kept the connection between the government and the South Africans, I don't think the country will be where it is now. I don't think we'll be having so much buildings that are being hijacked, that we've been advocating for them to reclaim those buildings, convert them into family units so that they can give them out as RDP units instead of keeping them empty up until they are being hijacked by unscrupulous landlords. If the government, if Home Affairs was effective enough, we wouldn't be having this problem. That is one of the failures. If the Department of Labor was effective enough, we wouldn't be having these companies employing these non-South Africans as and when they please for the purpose of exploiting them. Where is the Department of Labor? Where are the inspectors? What are they doing about it? So those are the indications of failure. The drugs that are being sold at the sets of robots, the rail line that is being stolen, daylight, and the rail cables. Where is the government? Where were the police?
So then I just want to find out, what is it that informs how you operate on the ground? I mean, what is the source of your information? Where do you get the intelligence that this is a foreign national that is illegal and that is operating outside the confines of South African laws?
Remember, Operation Dudula, it's not people who've been parachuted into South Africa or communities. It is an organization that consists of communities. So definitely they know what's happening around them. You know what's happening in your neighbor house. You see these people selling drugs in the robots, and you can tell, you hear when they speak, these are non-South Africans. So it's community-based, and we need not to undermine people's intelligence.
So, we've come to the end of today's episode, and I think as expressions, we have to come across quite clearly to say that the president of this country has said directly and categorically that he feels that Operation Dudula is a vigilante movement, and he feels that it operates outside of the limits of the law. Now, for you as a young person, it's very important for you to ask yourself, are you on the right side of history? What will history say about who we were during this juncture and during this time? And I hope as expressions we were able to give you a full perspective, to give you a plethora, right, as you had just said earlier, around the issues around this particular issue of Operation Dudula and whether South Africa is actually xenophobic, right, Mko?
Absolutely, we're Jackie, and sibonge kakhulu nani lapha ekhaya for all your participation enkundleni zethu zokuxhumana Expressions. Thank you so much, and sale kahle.